Alright guys, in today's video we're talking about the PlayStation 5 once again because we have even more information to go over and talk about. And I will let you know that no, this is not official information. However, it is still, in my opinion, very interesting because we have a former PlayStation 5 engineer giving us a little bit of insight into the PlayStation 5, more specifically the things that have yet to be revealed or announced by Sony, and they're going on record saying that Sony has done a pretty good job keeping secrets and that there are a lot of things, or as they put it, many things that have not leaked out yet or have not shown up in any leaks so far. And I find this incredibly interesting and actually exciting as well. So we're going to talk about that, but we're also going to be talking about the Twitter user Titix once again because they are coming out here giving us potentially some insight into what the PlayStation 5's operating system is going to be like, what the features are going to be like, talking about the create button, kind of explaining that. Now, I don't want to sit here and say that the information Titix is giving us is official because it might not be. However, I do think it is detailed enough that it's worth presenting so you guys can maybe make of it what you will. It could be legitimate, it could just be made up, but either way, I do find it interesting. So before we get into it, if you could do me a big favor, be sure to hit the like button to help the video out and show your support here, and hit the subscribe button as well so you don't miss any future content. But it says here, if you're worried that everything we could possibly know about the PS5 is out there right now, don't be. As a former PlayStation 5 engineer, Mark Hargett has confirmed that Sony have an entire circus of tricks up its sleeve regarding its next generation PlayStation offering. When quizzed about VRS, or variable rate shading, a GPU efficient rendering technique that is supported by the next generation Xbox but not yet announced for the PlayStation 5 as of yet, Hargett said in a Twitter exchange with Digital Foundry's Alex Battaglia, hopefully I'm saying their name correctly, that many things haven't shown up in the leaks regarding PlayStation 5. There are plenty of secrets that are being well kept. Smiley face. So that is the exact quote. Many things haven't shown up in the leaks. There are plenty of secrets that are being well kept. Now, this is extremely exciting to me because I don't want to sit here and make it sound like when I read this, I'm imagining all of these grand unveils and reveals that have yet to be talked about by Sony, at least on a hardware specification level. I'm not expecting Sony to come out here and surprise us with a bunch of technical features or technical specifications that they didn't talk about during their Mark Cerny Road to PS5 deep dive reveal, because I just feel like that's a little bit unrealistic. I mean, I'm not saying it's not possible. And because of the nature of this conversation and this exchange on Twitter, they are talking about VRS, they are talking about more technically specific things. That could be what they are referring to. There could be some secrets that Sony has yet to reveal, but just to keep my expectations tempered, I guess you could say, that's not necessarily what I'm expecting. I mean, all I can really do here is speculate on what this individual could be referring to, and the most interesting thing I had to say about this quote is they're saying that a lot of these things, or many things, have not actually shown up in leaks. And the truth is, we've gotten a lot of leaks. So I don't know if they're referring to just the more credible leaks, such as the the 9.2 T-flop leak. I mean, I know there's a lot of people who don't want to believe that that was a legitimate thing, but that was probably the most credible leak we've ever gotten in regards to the PlayStation 5. And I don't know if they're referring to like many of the past leaks that we've discussed here where it talked about game reveals, talked about all of these features. I really don't know. And so I guess what I'm going to take from this is that, you know, Sony has been quiet, and that silence isn't necessarily because they don't have anything to show. It's not because they're going to be caught with their pants down, I guess you could say. It's not because they have a lot of stuff that's underwhelming. It's because, as I've speculated before, they're just waiting for the right time to reveal this stuff. And it may not necessarily, again, be hardware related. It could be game related. It could be feature related. It could be things that, at the end of the day, and this is what I'm expecting, things that most people care more about. What do I mean by that? I'm talking about the things you're going to see practically in front of you. I'm talking about like when you boot up your console, what is the experience going to be like? What are the features going to be like? If I'm sitting here playing on my PS4 and I want to watch a demonstration of what the PS5 is going to be like, the biggest thing for me is, what are the major improvements going to be? What are the games going to look like? What features are going to be implemented in games that are running on the PS5 that are not going to be implemented or can't be implemented playing these same games on the PS4, or maybe not even the same games. They could be exclusive games. I'm just talking about all this because, again, they were kind of very ambiguous about what they said, but it's hard not to get excited as a PlayStation fan when I hear something like this. I'm not saying that this means, oh man, there's going to be some crazy secret hidden GPU feature or something that Sony hasn't announced yet. There could be, but I'm not anticipating it. I think what they're referring to is just a lot of features, a lot of improvements, a lot of things that maybe we can expect in terms of games that Sony has been doing a good job kind of keeping the lid on, right, and making sure none of it leaks out. That's what I'm assuming they're talking about when it comes to the many things or the many secrets that are being well kept. So I really want to know what you guys think of this. Make sure you let me know down in the comments below what exactly you think this former PlayStation 5 engineer could be referring to. Moving on from that, to kind of finish this video off, we are talking once again about Tidix, and this is what he had to say about the create button. He put out a tweet and it says, "So what's up with the create button? It functions pretty much as the share button does today. What's new is the Creation Studio, a suspended application that is instant when you want to use it. Real-time editing tool at your fingertips, resembles the NVIDIA Shadowplay." He says the name may change, but as of right now, it's called the Creation Studio. So I think that this is actually really interesting, and it does sound plausible. I mean, again, we don't know if this is true or not, but that would explain, or at least be a very good explanation as to why Sony changed the share button to the create button, and that is an aspect to the DualSense controller and the PlayStation 5 in general that I'm personally very interested in. I want to know more about what the create button is and how Sony plans to really kind of flesh out the ability for people to share their content and create interesting content. I just think that that's going to be one of the most unique and interesting aspects that the PS5 is going to offer, and as a content creator myself, I'm very excited about that. So he also has a lot to say about parties and kind of like invitations, game invites, and how that's going to work with the PS5. So we have a little bit of reading to do here, so bear with me, but it's pretty interesting. So he says, party invite thread, say you are enjoying Godfall on your PlayStation 5, and then your buddy sends you a game invite to play, let's say, Warzone. On your screen, you'll get a pop-up with a small screen, I'm assuming it'll be some kind of smaller screen, with a live stream from their game. Your PS5 will start the game in the background and it will be ready instantly. If you choose to accept the invite, your previous session will be suspended. And so he goes on to list some facts below about this. Says launching can be set by the user to be automatic or manual. The PS5 will have thorough security to safeguard users. You can adjust the settings to allow auto launching. By default, the user has to accept it and click. So what he's saying here is that, by default, this is something that, when you see it in effect, it's not just going to automatically boot up another game, right, for you in the background. You have to actually manually accept it. However, you can change the settings to have that be an option where anytime somebody invites you to a game, you can have it boot up automatically in the background. So if you do want to, partake, it'll just be ready to go. So that's very interesting. He goes on to say developers can choose what is in the pop-up window, the logo or the live stream. I see. This part to me is pretty interesting because trying to visualize this, right? Like I'm playing a game like Godfall, and then I get an invite and it pops up, let's just say on the top left of the screen, and it shows like the actual, like a small screen of, let's just say the main menu or the lobby of a Warzone that my friend invited me to. That's pretty insane in my opinion. That also sounds really cool. I'm having a hard time visualizing what that will look like, but I think that's going to be one of the more interesting features that Sony may offer with their OS here. And so he's saying that developers can actually choose what shows up. So It might not actually be like a live feed of the game. They might just put a logo instead, which, to be honest, I think that that's probably what most games will do. It'll just be a logo, but some games may, if they really want to kind of incentivize people, because, this is, in a way, this is Sony offering developers different ways to try to pull people into their games by utilizing their friends and invites, and it's very interesting. And so we could see more developers choose to put a little live stream there if they want. It says the user can disable windows for text prompts, window pop-ups, or auto launch. So this is a situation where you can apparently choose if you just want to completely disable these features so they don't bother you. So a lot of people are obviously worried about, or would be worried about that. Not everybody is excited about the idea of being completely interrupted. If you're playing like a single player game, you can turn it off. And I'm sure you can kind of pick and choose maybe which games you are, okay with having that for, I'm assuming anyway. But he goes on to say an example here is it's kind of dependent on the network. When a multiplayer race is selected, it's instantaneous. This is down to the PS5 speed and the network. In theory, if both users have 10 to 20 megabytes per second, then the background launch will be about 5 seconds. The primary screen will go into rest mode in a suspended state, and the launch game will become the primary. Once completed, the suspended screen will switch back. Users can modify the system to the way that they would like it all to work. So, very interesting there. Some very detailed info. This is why I wanted to relay it to you, because I'm not here to tell you that this is all factual, this is an inside leak. I'm not saying that. I'm just simply relaying it because it may be true, it may not be, but it does. I will say this. What he's talking about here lines up very closely to what Mark Cerny had to say back during I think the last Wired interview or article that we got with him, where he was talking about the revamped operating system and how at the forefront of it is going to be about the users being able to kind of do what they want to do instantaneously, being able to switch from one game to the other, being able to get a good idea and a good glimpse, real-time glimpse into how you want to spend your time gaming. It'll tell you how much time roughly it'll take to complete an aspect of a game. It'll tell you what your friends are playing, which game they're playing, exactly every little detail about what that game is they're playing, right? So you can choose to join if you want. And I think that this is all stuff that's honestly going to maybe surprise people when they see it in action, and I think it's going to be a really exciting aspect of the PlayStation 5. Now, that's pretty much going to do it for the video, guys. Again, I know none of this information is official, but I do find all of it very interesting, and so I really want to encourage you to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Let me know what you think about what this former PS5 engineer had to say about some secrets that are being well kept by Sony, and let me know what you think about these threads regarding the Creation Studio or the Create button and the party invite thread that Tidix put out here. Let me know your thoughts on this stuff as well. Again, I'm going to be really interested to see what you guys have to say. Leave the video a like if you did enjoy it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and haven't already. Hit the bell notification icon so you never miss an upload, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.